Hello, everyone, and welcome to Historically Black Sense News. I'm Shamai Cook, and tonight we have three special guests: a HBCU king, a HBCU queen, and a student advocate. Let's start off with go all the way to Delaware State University. Our first guests are the 21st and the 69th, Mr. and Miss Delaware State University. Please welcome Master Keith Jr. and Joyce Kasi Emma. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Mr. and Miss DSU. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing so good. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you. How are you?
I am well. I'm glad to be in the number and here with you guys. Let's start off. I'm gonna start with you, Mr. DSU. You're a studies student with a minor in business administration. Talk about why you chose that as your major.
Thank you. So I decided to be a law studies major. Growing up, I was raised around all women, and the men that I did have in my family, they spent a lot of time in and out of incarceration. So as a kid, you really just kind of like dream of different ways. Oh, how could I get my uncle back and my dad? Just really yearning for that male to male connection. So that was really what drove my passion to start studying law and find interest in trying to become an attorney. And it still was driving my passion to this day. So I'm gonna keep going with it.
Now Joyce, you're from Baltimore. Am I saying that right? Is it Baltimore or is it Baltimore? I love
Baltimore. Yeah, I'm
Baltimore.
from
Okay.
Baltimore,
You're
Maryland.
from Baltimore, and I think it's one of the best cities in America. Is one of my favorite cities. But you have held several of titles, including Miss Freshman, Miss Junior, and Miss Congo USA, and now Miss Delaware State. Why
Yeah.
is leadership so important to you?
Leadership is so important to me simply because of the representation of black women and females in that area. Growing up, I definitely was inspired to lead. I having of course a strong black mother and her leadership towards my life. I continue to want to be a representation for little black girls to know that they also can be in those positions to lead from the front, held high. So.
Yeah, let me go over to you, Master. You know, you have a lot of campus involvement, including roles such as treasurer, and you were the former Mister for only the Hornets and peer counselor. I'm just going down your resume. Just tell me when to stop. You are RA,
It's
Hornets
okay. It's okay.
ambassador, peer mentor, and for the DSU Summer Academy. Why is engagement, especially as a man on campus, because the women outweigh the men, especially at HBCUs. Why is engagement so important for men to be so engaged on campus? Why is engagement important to you?
I think engagement is really important to me because growing up in the area where I did, one, a lot of people don't too often go to college, but a lot of them, when they do, they don't look to get involved. It's seen as what some may say lame or corny, you know what I mean? But when I came to my HBCU and I saw amazing leadership examples, it almost made me want to take that path as well. So when I began to take that path and I seen the different rooms and the different spaces I was able to enter, and the different connections I was able to make, it really made me want to be able to pour back in not only to those that helped me, but to the rest of my community and show those that come from places like me that just because you see foolishness going on around you doesn't mean you have to follow it. Like, it's okay to draw your own path, to create your own story, and walk your own walk. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just important to me to continue to be that strong male representation for my little brother, young men on campus, to show them that it's okay to step up and it's okay to be in the spotlight and help others.
Back to you, Joyce. You are studying journalism with aspirations to become a news anchor. What made you want to study this, and what work are you doing to make those aspirations to be a journalist a reality?
Yes, thank you for that question. Media is so, so, so important to me. And it's truly a passion that I've had since I was a little girl. Growing up watching the news, I never really saw black women that looked like me and different things like that. So it inspired me to be in that role, to continue to be a representation and increase the black employment in media. And simply about what I'm doing to get into, the field that I want to get into when I finish and graduate. I do serve as a Hornet online news ambassador ambassador here, and I'm a writer for the paper for the DSU Hornets here. It's been a great opportunity to interview many different organizations on campus and to get the Hornet Nation up and running, and just vocalize overall in the HBCU culture. So, yeah.
Are you part of National Association of Black Journalists?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a good way to start. That's how you
Thank,
get your foot in the door.
yeah,
A question
thank
for
you.
both of you. You both served as Mr. and Miss Junior last year, and now serving as Miss and Mr. DSU. What has the experience been like working with each other for going on 2 years? I'm gonna start off with ladies first. Joyce, go ahead.
Honestly, it's truly been great. And I say that it's truly a blessing because me and Master work really, really well together. Our creativity is like unmatched. Like, I have an idea, he bounces off my idea, and then we make it into a bigger idea. And we're creators and we love to do things outside the box. That's definitely been something that has set us apart since being the Royal Juniors. Whenever we have an idea, we usually try to take it to the biggest like way we can possible,
Yeah.
and obviously, we work really good together. I mean, we're organized. We stay on top of things. So yeah, like it's been great. It's
To
been great.
piggyback off of what she was saying, it definitely truly has been a blessing and an honor to re-reign with Joyce again. Outside of everything that she said, I think more than just being Mr. and Miss Delaware State, we were friends first. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So we can always tell, like, when someone may need a break, or like Joyce has this thing where she'll be like, "Seems like there's a lot going on. Do you need to debrief?" You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
just things like that, making sure that outside of being Mr. and Miss DSU, we stay connected as friends and making sure that we're there for each other
Yeah.
on personal levels as well as when it comes to work. So it's truly a blessing. I could not see myself reigning with anyone else
yeah.
as the tenacious 21st Mr. Delaware State.
Period. Yeah.
DSU has been getting some national attention recently because of former NFL player Deshaun Jackson becoming the new head football coach over there. Even though the Hornets just came off a loss on the road to University of Delaware, but you guys have a home opener versus Bowie State. How excited is the student body for this football season?
I think the student body is really excited. Me personally, I'm really excited to see Bowie. We're really close with the court over there, so it's gonna be good to see them. Have a little friendly competition. See
Yeah.
our BK and SQ.
Yes.
They're really nice. We love their court. We love Bowie as a whole. We're really excited to see them, and I hope they bring in their best A game because we're not coming to play September
Not coming to
13th. We're not.
play.
You concur, Joyce?
I'm sorry. Can you
I
repeat
said,
that?
I said, do you concur? It was a
Yes,
question
I
for
do. We will see Bowie there on the field. Okay.
you.
Very excited.
Yes, yes. Last question. I'm gonna give it to Master. It's an event coming up with the men's council at DSU. It's called the 100 Men March. Can you talk about the purpose of this event and how it will help the campus community?
Yes, so this was an event actually presented to me by the Men's Council president. His name is Darius. He really wanted to use this event to really like get males out on campus. We were going to utilize that time. We've sponsored some ties. Give them some more professional attire. Give them more tips on how to act as a professional, being a man, a black man, in a professional world. Different ways to dress. We just want to talk outside of talking professionalism. Like I said, it's really important to keep like personal bonds as well, so just making sure all men understand on campus that we all need to be here for each other. Like you mentioned, we're outnumbered. You know what I mean? So it's important that we stick together and that we stand strong together, because if we don't have our backs, nobody else's will. You know what I mean? We're always looking to be the providers and the protectors, especially over the women on our campus. I see a lot of us are very protective, but it's also important for us to make sure we're looking out for each other as well. And we really want to utilize this time to allow the men on campus that space to really be themselves and like flourish and just relax and go on a little walk, a little march. It'll be a real good look. Keep them all dressed up nice.
Absolutely. Uh, Last question. I know I said last question before, but I promise this is the last one.
It's
It's
fine.
for both of you guys. What do you want your legacy to be when it's all said and done? When you guys graduate, because you both graduate, class of 26. Thank God we all out the door. Me and you,
Yes.
the cap offering. But what do you want your legacy to be when you're gone? at the
Definitely invoking a new era of leadership when it comes to the rural court. The rural renaissance is all about igniting a revival in what DSU's rural court looks like. So, our mission truly as the rural renaissance is to make sure we're honoring the legacy, honoring what the previous kings and queens have done at the rural court here at Delaware State, but also coming in with some innovation, coming in with some new flavor, some new taste, and really just innovating the leadership of the rural court here.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what my queen said, we're really just trying to reimagine what it means to lead here. We want events that we do to be events that people have never seen. We want things that we do to be like, oh, like this was cool. I haven't seen this in a few years. So really just going back to what we know has worked before and figuring out how we can, kind of mix and mingle with that to make it better moving forward and just leave a lasting impact, to continue to inspire those under us, and just be a helping hand to everyone around.
Well, best of luck to you. Thank you guys so much for coming on, Master Keith Jr. and Joyce Kasiyama. Thank you
Thank
so
you
Yes.
so much for having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Good luck
Thank you.
with your turn. Thank you guys so much.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Have
Bye,
a good
everyone.
one.
So you too. Over the summer, Florida A&M University Board of Trustees appointed telecommunications executive Marvin Johnson to be the university's 13th president, and was later confirmed by the Florida Board of Governors back in June. But her appointment has caused some opposition from thousands of alumni and students because of her lack of experience in higher education and concerns about Johnson's work under Florida Governor's John DeSantis administration. Students like former Mr. FAMU Devin Noble Jr. has created an organization called Order of the Flame to voice their concern about the state of the institution. And Devin joins me now. Welcome, Devin, to Historically Black Sense.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Devin. This semester has just started over there at FAMU, and more students are on campus than the summer when President Johnson was sworn in. How has students been voicing their concerns about her being the president of the school?
Yes, so I would say primarily they have been, at least from my experience, has been just mainly conversations, interpersonal conversations, and what's been going on with the university, expressing that they are fearful of the future for our university. They don't know what's to come. Does she have our best interests at heart? And obviously, the political background of our new university president is also concerning, as well as she has connections with Ron DeSantis, our governor, who has very loudly and boldly been against DEI and critical race theory. So how can you align yourself with a man who stands against everything that this university stands for?
Yeah, there was an online petition that over 18,000 people signed to not appoint President Johnson. Why do you believe the FAMU Board of Trustees and Florida Board of Governors ignored those people's concerns? Why do you believe that?
We see this installment of this new university president as a hostile takeover, essentially that this presidential search process was a predetermined search process, less of an election and more of a selection.
Yeah.
That they knew that they wanted Marvin Johnson from the very beginning and had this process as a formality instead of an actual search process.
Yeah, you said that this is a direct quote when you said at one of the meetings, you said as students, I'm quoting you, as students, as priority stakeholders in this university, we are very concerned about our future, about the future of our university. How concerned are you still about the state of FAMU?
Just as much, if not more. We're looking at this is not just happening to FAMU. We're a part of the 12 state university system institutions, and we have Florida A&M University been taken over. That's us. Florida Atlantic University, Florida International University, New College of Florida, University of Florida, all have had the same things happening to our universities. And if we want to start at New College of Florida, which is deemed the first domino to fall, I have a couple of facts here. Sitting at New College of Florida, that yes, they got $80 million in new funding and whatnot, but they dropped in rank from 76 to 100 out of 211 U.S. liberal arts schools. They've cut degree programs specifically to name gender studies. A lot of faculty and staff have been cut or they have left. Their SAT scores of the average SAT score of incoming freshmen has dropped. Their president is also being paid an exorbitant amount of almost around $1.1 million a year. New College has lost 27% of its student body. Their first year retention rate fell to 64, almost 65%, which is the lowest in school history. Their dropout rate has doubled. Athletes are 60% of the student body, 60% of the student body. Their deteriorating dorms have caused a housing crisis, leading to students having to live in hotels. The graduation rates have dropped to the mid 40s, and all this has been happening while they still have not met the academic metric goals. And so we see this as what's to come for our university. If this is what their first domino that they installed into a university is happening, and they've had around almost 3 years to turn that university around. If this is their agenda, then what's that for us? Because when in America, when America, they say when America gets a cold, Black people or our institutions, we get the flu. So if this is how New College of Florida is staving off, what is there for us to do? How is you gonna fare off a little bit down the road?
On the Order of Flame Instagram page, you analyze the salary that Marva Johnson is getting and the bonuses that she will receive. Now, what do you say to people who are saying that you are quote unquote pocket watching Marva Johnson?
I'll say, is that not the job of the constituents in which she is charged to serve? It is our job to hold her accountable. And if we feel like she is getting paid an exorbitant amounts that is not congruent with her expertise and not congruent with her values and not congruent with our trust and faith in her leadership, we should speak up.
FAMU has a lot of notable alumni from Packer, and people like yourself. Well, you're not alumni, but notable people. What have the message been continuously been on in the word on campus been with her presence there?
Generally, that we all understand this isn't right, which is why I've been pushing this informational campaign, as you've seen on our social media accounts, that we're informing students. There has been a general consensus like, this isn't right, but hey, this is what it is. This is not just us being upset about somebody being appointed, like we don't like who won the race, like it's high school prom king and queen. No, this is a specific and strategic installment of an individual who does not meet the criteria, one, and who does not meet the characteristic or qualities or values of the university. So we've been informing individuals and everybody who can listen that this is what's been going on, and the improprieties within the search process and why it's a problem, and then even the potential violations of Florida statutes and sunshine laws and even ethical concerns as well.
President Johnson said, quote, this is another quote that she said when she was appointed. She said, "My door will always be open, and I look forward to full engagement on campus with our with our communities." Have you or other students that you know took up her on that offer?
I myself have not taken her up on that specific offer because there's a very brilliant individual by the name of James Baldwin. Before my time, he says, "I cannot trust what you say because I see what you do."
Okay.
We can't. I can't in good faith engage in a conversation in which I don't see any positive outcome coming out of it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. How can people continue at FAMU and alumni support this initiative? If you need support and stuff, how can people get involved?
Yes, indeed. So one, to support in anything, educate yourself. Go seek out knowledge. Google is free. I like to tell all of my friends and family, Google is free. That's how I know most of the things that I know. Make sure you're looking for that information. We're going to put it out there. but you got to meet us halfway. Because things like this are only able to happen in the dark when we are civically disengaged. If we are always standing in front of them to their face and making sure that, hey, we are watching you and we are informed in the day-to-day operations of our institutions, it's hard, at the very least, a little bit harder for them to do these inappropriate actions. So that's one, inform yourself. Two, when your name is called, when it's time to be active, express your disapproval. In board meetings, there's public comment sections where students or even stakeholders have the opportunity to go up and say, hey, what you guys are talking about right now, the things that's on this agenda, you guys need to hear my voice. We are stakeholders in the university as primary stakeholders, as I said in the board meeting. Our voices matter. So stand up and go make sure that your voice is heard. Lastly, just sharing, ensuring that people, not just yourself, but your family and your friends, maybe your kid goes to FAMU, or maybe your kid aspires to be a rattler one day. Just make sure that they know about what's going on. Like I said, we cannot enact change if we're not aware that there should be change.
Thank you so much, Devin Noble Jr. coming on the show. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
indeed. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm going to bring in my colleague Deuce. What's going on, Deuce? How you doing?
Man, I'm well and blessed, man. Just thankful to see another day and be able to see these wonderful guests that you were able to interview and bring forth their information, their knowledge to our platform.
And I also want to follow up. You're a FAMU alum. I want to get your perspective on how the whole shabaco, as they say, on what's going on over at your alma mater. Talk about how do you feel about what's going on with Marvin Johnson being appointed as the 13th president?
Honestly, I definitely have the perspective of optimism. I'm not necessarily aware of what she will actually do in regards of the future. However, I agree with my my good friend and good leader at Florida A&M University, Devin Noble Jr., in reference of the circumstances that she has put our institution under, in regards of her not necessarily upholding the values that a historically Black college and university stands for consistently. And I feel as if that's not necessarily right and just. However, I do feel as if you always treat everyone with respect. However, you do hold people accountable. And the reason and the act of her being appointed without having the sufficient amount of leadership roles, as well as references, as well as the experience that she needs to be president of the College of Love and Charity, especially the highest of Seven Hills, the #1 public HBCU in the whole entire country. It's absurd, honestly, to me. And the amount that she's being paid, I'm not pocket watching, but I'm just saying it's insane, man. Like it was crazy for me to be able to look at these meetings, the in-town meetings or the school meetings that we have, in reference of when we had the people that were individuals that were potential prospects to be the next president of the Florida A&M University.
Yeah.
And when we seen these things and how that the board of trustees totally just, I'm not gonna say ignored, but just pushed away what thousands of alumni and current students had to say and feel, it obviously shows that they don't really care about what we have to say. However, we have to be able to implement certain ways on how we need to get certain things done in regards of our institution, and for us to be able to stay afloat and for us to be able to rise again once again.
All right, let's switch gears into some lighter news. Let's go into our round table discussion of the day. Let's talk about how let's talk about parties. You're a party guy allegedly. How do parties and social events at the start of the semester affect the ability to settle into a routine and focus on academics?
It's funny. I honestly believe that it depends on the person, man. Like the first day when I was on, FAMU's campus, I was at a party, man. Like, 'cause I'm thinking like, yo, you have a little bit of freedom, but you also have to have a balance, man. Like, I can't even tell you the amount of people that I went to school with that even didn't finish their freshman year or they just didn't finish in general. And there's no shade towards them at all. You know,
Yeah.
however,
College isn't for everybody.
yeah, college is not for everybody. However, I feel as if you aim for a certain goal, at least put your best foot forward. And I feel as if sometimes when it comes to like people like myself, I need something to look forward to. And in my head, it was being able to be entertained by, you know, parties and functions and things that bring some type of excitement to my life. And I feel as if I said, hey, if I get a B on this test, I'm going to this party. Or hey, if I get a certain amount of credits in reference of my professor, or a certain type of agreement in regards of a certain analysis that I leave on a certain story within class, hey, I'm going to this festival that's going on down the street. I feel as if when you know your ultimate goal and you have certain motivational factors to contribute to it,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit, man. Like, what can you do that goes wrong? Now, however, you can't go to every party now.
No, you can't.
You can't go to every party.
Basically the same thing anyways. They play the same music, but we digress.
I know, man, but it's like being somebody from Atlanta and going to Florida, you have to understand the culture, especially when you go into a different atmosphere. Like these people dancing all the time. You know, we used to just like chilling, relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Bumping our head, just like, you know what I'm saying? Low eyes, just looking at them like, hey, I see you. But now we're in a different atmosphere. We have to adjust. We have to be able to kind of understand the importance of being able to, you know, gravitate towards different individuals. And that allows you to be able to cultivate this actual goal that you have. So that's what my factor was. So I feel as if for some people, parties are a determining factor in referencing the ways in which you continuously increase your success within whatever institution, specifically HBCU. Because I know my mama, if I had any F's, D's, or C's, I was coming home. So I ensured that, like, hey, I worked hard, but I partied harder. So
yeah, you rewarded yourself. We know that. You know, you work hard, you play harder.
Just being in the house on Friday night, and I just got an A on my whole college algebra test, and I hate math. So it's like, yo, like, come
that's
on.
why we're both journalists. We don't do math. We have people that do it for us, but we don't. Exactly.
Especially all these resources now. Shoot, you can type it in Google and they do it for you. So,
what strategies do you personally use to balance social life, parties, and campus activities while, well, you know, now that you graduated like 400 years ago, you know, activities while staying on top of your assignments? How did you manage your life, your work and in your personal life?
well, of course, as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, you know, young man, you're going to be a little bit distracted. You know what I'm saying? You have most beautiful women, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
On
know.
one's campus as fan, you was like, yo, my gosh. And then you have these events and you have celebrities pulling up out of nowhere. Like one time I was studying, and I don't know why, but NBA YoungBoy pulled up to this thing we have called the Breezeway. And I used to live in Sampson Hall, the penthouse, 420. Shout out to everybody who's a legend over there. And when I say people knocked on the door like, Deuce, YoungBoy at the Village. And I'm like, yo, when I say, and we used to have this hall called Gibbs Hall across from Sampson Hall. Yeah. And everyone would run, like literally, we'll stop everything we're doing, literally run over the Village. It was like not a half a mile, but like a little less than a half a mile, and literally just go enjoy ourselves and just be able to socialize with our constituents. So sometimes I feel as if you have to give yourself a break, man. And what helped me, I would study for a little bit and then goof off a little bit. Study for a little bit and goof off a little bit. And then when you're in college, a lot of your classes are spaced out. So you don't have 7, 8 classes like I had in high school at one time. You have 2 to 3, you know, each day. And sometimes on Fridays or Mondays, you don't have any.
Yeah.
So exactly. So you coordinate it to your class schedule and referencing of the time slots that you have in between, or in reference of a certain night that's a slow night, there's nothing really going on. You put extra time into that study. And so you don't have to necessarily harp on it when it's something like when it's a special event going on. So just basically balancing your time and just thinking smarter and not harder.
How did you lock in on your academic and personal goals at the start of the semester without feeling like you were missing out on campus life? Because, like you said, you can't go to everything.
Yeah.
So how did you lock in? into that, get to that point where you were academically successful, but also personally, because you're Deuce Tucker. So how did you get, lock in to manage both things?
Honestly, man, I'm a very competitive guy. I want to know how you felt about it as well, in referencing of how to balance yourself, because I know you're still in school, a young man, a little young baby.
All right, all right,
but
all right.
but honestly though, honestly, I just kept remembering, like, I don't want to make my parents, what I'm saying, disappointed.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a lot of men. The first person to graduate from a 4-year institution within my family is my big brother, with Darren Thomas. And he graduated from Tuskegee University, and he inspired me to go to a HBCU. And I wanted to be that individual where, on my mom's side specifically, I was the first individual. So in reference of that, I just wanted to make sure, first male, excuse me. And I just wanted to make sure that I made my family proud, man. And I feel as if I'm an individual where I have to wear a chip on my shoulder. And I feel as if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Me too.
And I just thought about a lot of my friends, man, especially growing up. A lot of them, they weren't doing nothing at home. A few of them were incarcerated. And a few of them, even my best friends since I was in grade school, were deceased. And I realized, I was like, whoa, like, life is way bigger than your environment, man. Like,
Exactly.
why won't you go, spread your wings and be able to evolve as a person, as a boy, and turn out as a young man? You're going to make some mistakes along the way, but you have to always remember your initial goal. And then I had to remember I'm an out-of-state student too. Now, I had some scholarships, I had some loans, I had some help from family and others, but bro, like, I'm all the way out here in Tallahassee on my own. I don't have no family out here. I had a couple of friends from, high school that came. However, they were on their journeys and I was on mine. So I had to be able to learn and understand the importance of handling my responsibilities, or else I would be in a circumstance where I wouldn't be able to gravitate and have the best experience within my undergraduate tenure that I could possibly have. And that's exactly what I did, man. So in reference of me being able to lock in from the beginning, I remembered my initial goal. I prayed every night, and of course, here and there, I wasn't necessarily a big caller, back home being like, hey, y'all, how y'all doing? But I had to learn how to evolve in reference of being able to meet people where they were at and letting people know that, hey, I'm here for you, but I need y'all to be here for me and support me. And just some little supporting messages, man, especially with my community that I was able to build at the College of Love and Charity, from joining organizations to, just being able to stay level-headed, to remain, humble as well, but be confident as well, and just be able to embrace my mistakes. So here and there, yeah, I probably didn't do too well on the test, but I know for sure at the end of the semester, I ended out with a B or higher. So I just had to remember the goal, man, honestly,
Remember your why. I think people forget their why when they're in college.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted me to answer the question. So how do I lock in?
Yeah.
I think my priorities, it's all about priorities, like you alluded to a little bit too. But with me, I'm a first gen person, first gen student as well. And I'm the oldest of 4. So I don't have an older brother. I don't have so
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
the
to
baby of
be
4.
the example. I have to be the example for, my siblings behind me. So that's in the back of my mind as well. And to be honest, I'm not really a party person. I'm really like, I want to be home by the 10 o'clock news. I'm sorry. I want to be home by the Tonight Show. That's like, that's how I am. But I go out occasionally. And, I like the fellowship with people in my dorm and all that stuff, play pool and all that stuff. So I like that. But people have to understand that sleep is very important, but also it's okay to take, it's okay to go out once in a while, but don't outweigh yourself.
Overdo it.
Don't overdo it. Please don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to go every Friday.
Exactly.
You don't have to
believe
go.
it or not.
And people be spending money. That's the thing. Save your money.
And we broke. We in college. Like, yo, like, what you think? We ain't balling? We don't have no 6-figure jobs right now. We trying to get those things. But honestly, believe it or not, I didn't go out every Friday. Here and there. Of course, here and there, we might have like a little social. during the week.
Exactly.
Or,
Like these events on campus, so that's free. So you just go to that. Exactly.
Exactly, man. So you just have
Yeah.
to find the balance, man. And sometimes it's okay to just situate yourself, sit down. Hey, invite a couple friends over for a little game night, or
Exactly.
just watch a movie, or just sit down and chill out.
It's okay to sit in silence. I think people forget that. That's the best thing.
You can be able to absorb your own thoughts.
Exactly. But all right, last question. What role can peers, mentors, or other universities play in helping students manage the transition from summer to fall while maintaining well-being and motivation?
Oh my gosh, they're needed. They're definitely needed. I had a few mentors, man, like individuals that helped me understand the importance of learning when, what, and how, and where. Like I had a few mentors. I'm gonna give them some shout outs. Michael Moore, aka Black Mike. Avery Jacobs, Shirley John Pierre, and Asia Gilmore. So I want to give a story as well. I was a freshman. I was the dude who had the tank top, the shorts, the slides, the goals in, the earrings.
I can imagine it.
I had the waves and all of that, man. And her name was Asia. She pulled me aside. She was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I seen you, you've been in J school doing your thing, but why are you like walking around or displaying yourself like that? Not necessarily with the tank type of things of that nature, but I had a do-rag, I think, in class. I'm like, I don't have no haircut. He says, wear a hat, And I said, why is that? Because the way you present yourself, especially to your constituents or people who are touring the school, is always the key factor in regards to how someone sees you. You're a college educated man, so act as one. And from that day on, notice I never wore one again, but I was definitely attentive to me necessarily ensuring that I did it less and less until the point of I didn't do it anymore. So I want to give a shout out to all those people because I feel as if sometimes, especially when you have that own sense of freedom, you think you know everything, man. But people who are in that space with you, especially when they are maybe a year or two older and they have experienced these things recently, you're more than likely to be able to absorb the knowledge from them because their experiences were recent and they can be able to understand how you feel, where you're coming from, and why you think the way that you think. And that's why it's important for you to be able to be open-minded, because sometimes you got these knuckleheads who think they know everything. And shoot, man, I have some, some constituents, like I said, they just lounging around, not doing really anything. But I feel as if you can't necessarily grow if you're not willing to learn. And I feel like you can learn from anybody. I learned from a CEO and I can learn from a custodian because everybody has different experiences within their life, and then their life can help benefit yours so that you can prevail from heights that they weren't even able to imagine or visualize.
Absolutely. I definitely concur. When it comes to I think mentors and motivation, I think like you say, image is very important because people are going to remember your first impression of you. They're going to remember, oh, that's Deuce with the do-rag. So I always had that going into college where, okay, I got to make an image day one. So I think, going to college, I think I had a good head on my shoulders on, when to, what to do and, how to present myself. So now everybody know that I'm Shamai that wear the suits all the time. That's a good thing. I'd rather have that than, rather than being the guy that, always wearing, not to throw shade at you, but wearing do-rags and, all that stuff. So that's one thing. But I think another thing is I learn from other people's mistakes. So like you said, listening to people who, who have been through what I've been or been through what I'm about to go through, like college and stuff. Yeah. So listening to those people, because a wise person listens to people who goes through stuff that they're about to go through. So I like to learn from other people's mistakes. In context matters because not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same journey, but you still need to have that in the back of your mind. Is that if I make this decision, maybe I might get the same reaction as person over here who told me that. So have that in the back of your mind is always important to analyze and have critical thinking skills when not just in your career but in life. That's very important.
Yeah, because people have to realize as well, this is my last point. Yeah, college helps you evolve as well as get ready and prepare for life. Exactly. This is not life in general. Like now, a lot of people I hear saying, hey, this is gonna be the best 4 years of your life. Now, I can understand it. However, I can also disagree with it. I think two things can be true. I feel as if these years should be as exhilarating and as establishing as they can because of your youthfulness as well as your freedom. However, in referencing of the best years of college being your best years in life, I think that should not necessarily be the case, because these years should allow you to be able to prevail in such a far heights that you can't even imagine what would have happened if you continuously held your mind within a specific time frame or a specific realm of continuously college world, so that you won't even be able to see the heights that you were able to prevail and go for in regards of being able to benefit others as well as yourself.
Well, that does it for us. Thank you so much, Deuce. What a great discussion today. Thank you. So our guest tonight, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. This has been Historically Black Since News. We love you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Shemai Cook.
And I'm Deuce Tucker.
See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.